Hi, this is Mike with Elev8 Presents, and I'm here with Zam, and we just had a few questions for you. So, how did you get into blowing glass?
I honestly was up in Humboldt County going to school, and I stumbled upon a glass studio with a friend of mine, and I just remember the doors opening and seeing 4 torches going and just never wanting to leave. And so I spent 6 months filling my sketchbooks with what I thought blueprints were and talking to the guys there, and when a station finally opened up, we convinced them to let us run a station, and from there.
And now you make beautiful pieces of art, and I'm like, So that's how you started blowing glass. So where do you come from? Like, where were you when you started? Where was that?
That was out in Humboldt County.
Okay.
So I was going to Humboldt State at the time studying business and trying to study business so that I could go sell art at a museum, essentially, because I was an artist at heart. And when I found glassblowing, I had seen it soft glass done in a Renaissance style when I was in high school, and that really, I knew that that's kind of what I wanted to do, but it was inaccessible and unattainable at the time. So years later, college, when I found that shop, it was a pipe making shop in Humboldt County, just a little mom and pop shop, hole in the wall, and it just, everything in my body went off, and I was just like, that's where I need to be, and I just made sure that I was there for as long as I could be, and then expanded out from there, and made the networking that I needed to. There are so many amazing artists, and just in that Pacific Northwest region, Humboldt County, Oregon area, and so there's a lot of just inspiration. And sorry, I'm rambling now, but
no, you're good.
When was your first champs?
My first champs was, let's see, I think it was 2014 or 15. This would have been the 3rd Masters that I interacted with. So, because I wasn't here last year because I went to Switzerland to blow glass, but this was my 3rd chance at Masters, so 3 years ago, whatever year that is.
Awesome. So where do you come up with your ideas? Like, what is your technique process and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I've always kind of been obsessed with the figure and form, so in the relatable kind of human context. I watched a lot of Ancient Aliens growing up, and the religion episodes really hit home with me. I grew up in a Catholic family, but never was religious personally, so it was kind of that looking for answers, that kind of what could be, what can I use to explain and kind of use as a story. And Tolkien was a huge inspiration for me, and how he developed Middle Earth to then tell stories about us that wasn't us, because he used these different races that he created to talk about us. And so I'm using kind of that platform to explore these different spiritual realms and physical, real realms as well in my work by creating the Chaos Theory universe, which is my Middle Earth.
Okay.
And so these characters derive from this universe, and we know about this universe because they have come here in our past. The gaps in our history, if you look at Alexander Sitchin's book, The 12th Planet, 13th Planet, but he's the guy that one of the big people for Ancient Aliens, and there's a lot of gaps in our history of when civilization to be, and there's a lot of room for expansion and for me to use my imagination and fill in those gaps with these alien interactions that have helped us move forward with society, have helped us move forward spiritually, and that we may have lost and they're not coming back right now, and that's why we may be in this surplus kind of life right now. And then I use in my production line corn, so the cornfields and the crop circle connection with these more elaborate characters to kind of help build that world with the everyday user's collection of glass. They can build their cornfield and build up to bringing their own character from the Chaos Theory universe into their cornfield. And so it's very layered, lots of pieces, but I like to run with all these kind of openings in our own personal history, and humans are inspiring as shit.
Yes. So are there any particular techniques that you like to use, or any stylistic choices that you pick because you like that specific technique?
I mean, so a lot of my corn is based on my understanding of color, and the way that glass is very unique in the way that you can trap light in some transparents, you can stop light with opaques. And so getting the depth and color in my shaved corn, my really nice stained corn cobs, is one of my favorite techniques. It takes a long time, and it's very meditative, but it comes out very beautiful in the end, and it's something like being able to replicate the natural world with glass is something that I hold very dear.
And they're beautiful. Like, even your more quote unquote proto stuff is beautifully sculpted still. I'm
Thank you.
in love. Do you currently work with anybody in anybody's shop, or are you just kind of doing you?
I'm currently out of Denver, Colorado, out at Mean Screen Studio. We've got a huge studio. Eternal Quartz rents out a huge side, so we've got a quartz company in there. We've got, I think, like 15 or 18 other stations that are other just borosilicate workers, artists, and I work side by side with Gnarly Harley every day, my current partner and life partner, and all that. So it's a very rewarding experience being in a shop with a lot of other young artists, as well as like Terry Sharp was there for a little while as well. So we have larger, more advanced artists coming through, and it's a very nice space to be in.
It sounds amazing. Is there anybody that you're currently looking up to, somebody you aspire to like be near?
I mean, probably hear this from a lot of the female glassblowers in the industry, but Laceface is definitely up there. And then Lucio Bubico, I'm probably butchering his last name, Babuccio or something like that. But the Italian eccentric, just amazing figure sculptor, his imagination and the way that he actually puts himself into the glass, I feel is very inspiring. And Laceface does the same thing, where she is very reactive to the world, where you see it flowing through her into her work, and I really hope that I can be the vessel for that, like they have been.
That's beautiful. So what do you see for your future of your glassblowing career?
Hopefully a lot more corn, a lot more figures. I'm actually really liking the kind of more production lines that I've got coming out, kind of taking corn as a sacred vessel, as well as a kind of conversation piece talking about our agricultural issues in our own country, as well as the spiritual histories of other countries that kind of come into play with these factors. And in the next year, I really hope that I can travel international again and maybe hit Canada or go back to Switzerland. I really enjoyed expressing myself and learning with people that were from a different background, because we have such a lush industry now in the U.S. We had the kind of a glass renaissance here in the last 20 to 30 years, and it's reviving in other countries as well, and getting that connection is really important to me.
I heard you talk about Canada. I'm really personally excited to see what comes out of Canada with this new legalization for them.
Right.
Have you seen anybody crazy that you're really interested
So
in
over the last 3 years, I've been watching or keeping an eye out for the Great Canadian Flame Off, and I've been trying to get up there for it, but it seems like it's growing and growing every year. The glass artists up there there's just not as many of them. So it's harder to find them, I think, in that regard, as far as versus the American artists. But there's people up there, and they're trying to push the envelope. They're right there with us. I mean, I can't remember the person's name, but I remember looking at something and be like, this is badass. And then my friend who actually used to live in Canada was like, oh, dude, I totally know that glassblower, and like that guy is legit. And so I think it's just a matter of us crossing paths and getting those algorithm blockades out of our way and kind of seeing each other. They're there, they're crushing it, and we need to be there with them.
All right, so I have two other very important questions. I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, but do you believe in aliens?
I mean, that's kind of a loosely interpretation. I don't know. My answer is broad, I should say. So, yes and no. The traditional alien, I'm skeptical about. As far as other life in the universe, I definitely think it can exist, but whether or not it will exist at the same time that we're here, highly unlikely. There's actually been physicists that have done the calculations and tried to determine all the possibilities, and it just doesn't seem likely that they would be here at the same time as us. As far as what I truly think aliens are, is humans' subconscious interpretation and projection of ourselves in the future. So things that we value in ourselves are, or at least I've seen through what I can interpret history, like we like the brain, we like the head, we like that to seem prominent. So enlarging that is a reference to smarts. So where it may freak us out in real life, when we put it in a depiction, it can be seen as beautiful and something that's more suggestive. There's something going on in that head. What's going on there? Like, is there more than what I have? Is that something that my genetic line needs to put with my genetic line? Kind of a thing. And then the eyes. We use our eyes so much to understand each other, to understand our mates, to understand our food, to understand where we're going. There's so much that we rely on our eyes, so having those larger or more advanced eyes to be able to see more than we can see. And then if you look at their body types, it's skin that is not necessarily affected by sun, so that's something to go, it's interpretive of outside of this planet, expanding further. The humans have expanded to go across this entire planet, which means that they're kind of adventurers, you know, there's that expansion in us. Maybe not in every single person in the same way, but I think that there's a lot of things in these perceived aliens that just kind of point towards our future, and whether or not we see ourselves at that point now, I really think it's us in the future.
That's amazing, and that's a great way of thinking about it. And thank you so much, and I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your day, and I hope you kick ass.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
Congratulations, girl. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Here, bring it
awesome.
in.
And
you did awesome.
He nailed it, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, girl. That was awesome. Look,